Hey everyone, it's Emma. This week recording this from Seattle, Washington. So we are all over the place right now. But I really enjoyed getting to read this new textbook that we just started um, throughout my travels this week. So one main point that kind of stood out to me, or like just one main point, was that leadership is socially constructed, and I don't think I've ever really thought about it this way. That there's not like one, or there's not a set of traits that makes a leader, or there's no, or like formal roles, but it's more about the interactions, perceptions, and cultural norms that are between the people involved, and like how you see what leadership means to a certain group. And it is so it's more like it leadership doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's more created or defined by social processes, or just by the way society operates. And it's really constructed through the way that we all kind of recognize, follow, and respond to people's actions. And a big way of that, especially now, can be like how media portrays leadership, can be a really big influence on how we as a society see how we respond to who leadership the best. And then another is followership. We had learned about followership previously, but just diving into it a little bit more on how it refers to just how individuals respond and interact with leaders. And it's more like, how are they active in being a part of the group? How do they interact with the leader? How do they influence change? How do they influence decisions? What are they doing also for the group? So leadership, or group, how the group works isn't really just based on the leader, but also the followers and the leader as a collective. And then, I mean, good followership involves critical thinking, feedback, communication, loyalty, but also resistance if necessary. And then, as far as there are also power structures within, leadership and just groups in general, or communities. So there's formal and informal power, which formal power is really like the position ones, but like a title or a position like captain or boss or a CEO. But when looking at the like leadership is societal, um, is shaped by society. It's more of that informal leadership or informal power, which is basically just by, comes from uh, personality, your expertise or skills, and relationships with other people. Sometimes the most respected person on the team isn't the team captain. It can just be the person who has the best relationships with people, or stuff like that. Um, Another big part of these readings was that leadership is ambiguous, which I also just had never really thought of. Which, so leadership is hard to define. It is context dependent. So like what counts as leadership in one situation could not be considered leadership in another situation. It really just depends on when maybe your leadership style, or who steps up, or your influence in that area, what situation it is necessary and it works in. And also, leadership is subject to interpretation. It really depends on, again, the people that you are around and who sees you as a leader and where you have that influence. There's also distributive leadership, which is, so there's not just one leader, but leadership is shared across multiple people in the group, which this is like one thing that stood out to me, especially like within sports, because on a softball team, you don't have just one team captain. There's usually a group that kind of share that leadership. Usually on sports teams, it's the seniors or the veterans that have been there for a while. I know on my team, I was one of the leaders this year, but there were about four of us that kind of shared that leadership and made decisions together and just really kind of had the most influence over the rest of the team. One thing that might kind of make me pause a little bit is just maybe I think like followership in the sense that not everybody is an active follower and not everybody is contributing to the group, and so like as a leader, what what do you do for those people that maybe are even going against the group, just getting them on the same page, or maybe trying to get people to have an active role as a follower. And then my question for the group would be kind of based on that. What can we do as leaders to get everybody more active in the group, even if they do not hold a leadership role?